right now.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, I see that live stream. Don't see.
We are multitasking. Did y'all notice? Y'all notice we're multitasking like some queens up in here.
Yeah.
We ain't playing no games. I'm so happy to see some of y'all. Yeah, we're doing equal opportunity for everybody. All right, yay. So you know, Bree, that YouTube is a little delayed, so don't let that bother you. But we definitely want to see it because we want to see the chat. So we want to see what you guys may have to say. We can't catch it as well in IG. I'm not really good at catching the chat in IG as I am at catching it on YouTube. So if you really have a question or concern or anything, then dive in. But again, let me dive back into yes, to multitasking. Let me dive back into these introductions because you guys are all familiar with Bree. If y'all familiar with Heyyy HR and the lives, the happy hour lives, and y'all are familiar with Bree, we had Bree on maybe a month ago, if that. And in that moment, Bree is not only a life coach and business coach and certified in her work, but Bree is amazing at keeping you organized. So obviously, if someone's coaching you through life, they're great at keeping you organized as well, because that's the best way to make sure that you go into the right direction. And what I really, really love about this is that the last time we hit on so many topics. I want to say we had one topic and we went all over the place. But today we want to talk about motivation. But how can you be motivated if you have these little thoughts in your head that's saying, I'm not worthy, I can't do it, I don't know how to do it, I don't have the resources to do it. So you have to kick imposter syndrome out the way, and that will heighten your motivation. Even if you're already motivated, sometimes it kind of can halt your motivation because you have these small thoughts in your head. So that's what we're here to do today, is to tell you guys all about motivation, kicking imposter syndrome in the butt. And we're not going to do this. We're going to do this a little bit different because, Bree must is the girl from another mother, right? And so we conversate all the time. She helps me with so many different things. You guys all know that we're both e-bosses in the e-brain club. And so we're going to do this more of a conversation. So we want y'all to converse with us. Please put it in the chat. Any questions, comments, like hype us up or tell us we're missing something or tell us how we can help you navigate this whole thing in the chat. Bree, you going to tell the folks hi?
I was waiting. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be back. Let's start off with that.
Yes, we love it.
Yeah, it's always a great time. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, and I just love it because I think that it's just a blessing that we both, we get along so well. It makes it so much easier, especially on a topic like this. So one thing I definitely, y'all know, the first thing, I don't do nothing until we get past this point. And this very critical point is, Bree, what type of drink do you have?
Oh, tonight I have an 805 that I will be pouring into my glass. People might not know, but she's a beer drinker. I mean, depending on the day, but here we go.
Love it.
Look, that's enough advertising. They're not paying me.
I know that's right. You got to get them brand deals, honey. But see, that's why I fixed them. I just put mine in my cup. And you see, I went for a big cup today because the other one was not going to be able to get me right. I've had a busy day. But I'm drinking my normal. So y'all know I'm a crown apple type of girl. I put a little cran apple juice in. And I usually top it off with a little bit of pineapple juice. I didn't do that tonight, but I want to definitely start by us saying hi to some of the folks. So how about we do this? I'll address and make sure we give some love to our folks in YouTube land, and you'll hit IG since that's your lane. You cool with that? Alrighty. So I am not familiar with Lucid Greens, but hello, and I hope I said that right. Welcome. If this is your first time joining Happy Hour, then welcome. So Dawn Green, we are so happy here. Yeah, cheers. Y'all know I get real touchy about my people, and my cousin, who has been an amazing supporter for so long and recently left me here in South Carolina and moved to LA, is Dawn Green. So we so happy you're in the building. I was wondering if the timing was going to work out for him. And y'all, okay, before we get to my bestie, because all y'all already know my bestie. Y'all know Tar is like my ride or die. We're so happy to have her. She was on IG. I guess she migrated over to YouTube. I appreciate the love every time. And I'm definitely going to figure out some time to hang out with her because she's about to leave me for a little bit. But y'all, I'm so amazed to see my cousin Kimberly Washington in here. Y'all, that's my first cousin, my big cousin.
Hey,
if y'all
cousin.
want to know, hey, cousin, if y'all want to know, like the person that kind of gave me indirectly, I don't think she realized she did it, but gave me the idea that everything that's in my mind is truly attainable, is because of my cousin. She's a first generationer for us on multiple things, which made me feel like it's a comfortable place to go into. And I am amazed to see Sean. Sean, where your wife at? Tell her get in here too. Or is she using your phone? That's really April. Okay, that's really April. I was like, what's Sean doing? All right, so that's all our YouTube people. Y'all, we so happy to have y'all on. Bree, let's acknowledge these folks in IG.
All right, my rose tribe. I need to see some roses in the comments. This is
if y'all my people, give a purple heart.
There we go. You Hey HR, we need a purple heart. My rose tribe, I need to see some roses.
Yes. Oh, look at Rose Tribe popping up. Yay.
Yeah, I love it.
Y'all are rolling through. I mean, it's nice to see this.
Yeah.
Y'all ready to hear us talk about motivation and imposter syndrome? If you are, put these roses and these purple hearts in the chat. Oh, Kim Washington with her red heart. I know that's right. I'm going to give them the hearts over in YouTube land. Oh,
the love. I'm so here for it. I'm so excited for this topic too.
I'm so excited for this topic. Tell me why you're so excited for this topic, Bree.
Because motivation is such a touchy subject, because we feel that we either don't have enough or we just have it on certain times of our life. You know, like you could be motivated sometimes for your work or sometimes for your life, and nobody talks enough about what you do when you're not motivated. And how do you stop beating yourself up when you're not motivated anymore?
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. Sometimes we get so lost in the shuffle of what we're doing that we don't even realize or pay attention to that lack of motivation. Because when that lack of motivation hits in, what usually is the thing that's pushing us to self-doubt and think that, you know, and kind of beat motivation down?
Oh my gosh, I think that's everything. Like, for one, we stop getting motivated, and then it's like everything is a trickle effect of just negative. You say, oh, why haven't I gotten this thing done? And then you beat yourself up of not getting the thing done. So then you don't do something else. And then it trickles on to the next day. And now you feel like you backtracked because of one single day. And it's like, oh my God, you know, but we have to kind of train ourselves to say one bad day isn't a whole bad life. And we need to be a little more gentle on how we feel and look at motivation, because it's not really the motivation to do the thing. It's the feeling of, I can't do that right now. I'm not in a mental capacity to do this. I'm not in a physical capacity to do it. We don't lack motivation. We just lack the drive to be able to do it. And we're not honoring ourselves to say, oh, can I even do this right now? Because I'm going to tell you what, if you really wanted that body, you're going to be at the gym. It's not about motivation. It's, I don't feel like going, because you don't want it that bad. That's kind of what it comes down to. A different aspect of motivation is feeling, do I want it bad enough? That's what it is. Like it's so mental.
It's so mental. It's so mental. And I think that's the craziest thing about, in my opinion, the craziest thing about both motivation as well as you know, imposter syndrome, is that a lot of times when it's in our head, we can't touch it. We can't really feel it. We're not really sure kind of how to address it. And it's such a silent approach that you don't even realize that it's a mental thing, because now all of your actions have manifested from this one mental thought. So I'll tell you that, and this is probably going to take us in a bit of a different direction, but I feel like it really is similar, where for me, I've established boundaries that I didn't realize I needed. Personal, professional, just more of things that I realized was exhausting me over time, things that I realized I was putting a ton of energy into those things and not able to really put energy into myself and what I wanted. Most of it was more of a reactionary thing for other folks and whatever they had going on. And so I build boundaries, and with those boundaries, my confidence really came up, as well as this at the same time that I'm building these boundaries, is because I was learning imposter syndrome. And my counselor, y'all know I talk about my counselor all the time. I am a heavy proponent of having a counselor or a life coach and business coach. But the thing that really got me was, she was teaching me indirectly, like how to acknowledge imposter syndrome, what ways to combat those, how to decide what were my morals, what were my values versus the ones I had grown up on. I thought whatever I grew up on, my mother, my grandmother, my father instilled in me a long time ago, those are also my values. Those are also my principles. Those are also for me. And she was like, no, we're going to help you define what's important for you. When I defined what was important for me, I was able to build boundaries and able to find myself so focused on what made me healthy that it kind of silenced my imposter syndrome. I'm not going to say it's gone. It's still times that I sit down and I think to myself, can you really do it? I mean, YouTube is one of them. Like, I'm in a different place. Starting a business, that's another one, but with that, it really, really helped me. So recently, so recent that it's, it's almost scary to talk about it, but I recently had resigned from my last position. I told you about that. And with that, I got a reaction I really wasn't expecting. Like one that totally caught me off guard. Sorry, my mouse fell. One that totally caught me off guard. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, why are we reacting this way? And it was taking me into a reaction that I didn't like, it was bringing emotions for me that I was like, this isn't necessary right now. And this isn't the emotion that I want. Folks just weren't happy about the fact that I was resigning. And so I said to myself, let me hear these people out because maybe I'm missing something. Yes, this is a great opportunity that I'm getting and I'm excited about it, but maybe it's not my opportunity for me right now. Maybe this is, I really should stay here to help these folks. And everything that I heard from everyone was totally, y'all got silent, was
I'm like,
but everything that I had totally like heard from them was like selfish. It was nothing like, Tamika, I want the best for you. Tamika, I think that you're making a wrong move because you're setting yourself up for failure. It was all about, well, now I won't get this and now we won't have this. And I was just like, this isn't healthy for me. But if I was in a moment where imposter syndrome was still hitting me, I would have been like, you know what, you're right. And I should do this and I should do. Me, I guess I went into flight or fight because I was like, I'm not going to be uncomfortable for the next 2 weeks. I'm not going to put myself into the space of feeling bad for the next 2 weeks for a great thing. Go ahead. Tell me what you think about that.
I'm just, there's a time and a place where your gut tells you, I know I'm making the right decision. I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I know that this energy shift is not for me. And what happened is they really showed that they're not letting you grow. And we don't need that. That's like Tara said, they didn't appreciate you at all. No, they didn't. Because it's a different level when you're around a high-spirited person that you feel you want them around you because, for one, your energy is infectious and people are saying like, oh, I want that, but there's also a negative aspect of other people that just consume and consume, that it's draining you. And that goes hand in hand with imposter syndrome. Because if we look at the things that make us feel good, we don't really have imposter syndrome. Some of the things that make us feel bad are some things that are going to have us grow. You feel bad if you left, but then how else were you going to grow? You can look at that the same.
Yeah. And I think I'm so happy to see Tara pump in there because That's another big thing that I don't think folks realize is healthy for them.
Mm-hmm.
When you have imposter syndrome, self-isolating probably isn't the best thing. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be 50 people, but if you have like two, even one, like Tara is enough for me, but I do have more than her, where I have a solid group of folks that
Mm-hmm.
I feel are amazing at giving me support.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, if they don't agree with me or they need more information, like Raven is a good person for that.
Mm-hmm.
They will ask me questions to make me verify that my feeling is correct or that my position is correct.
Mm-hmm.
Or do I have enough in me to say, I hear your feeling, but this is more important to me. My feeling is more important to me. Being more comfortable is more important to me than it is all of those things that you just said,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm
Mm-hmm.
speaking with them. So I don't think folks realize how important it is to have like-minded folks who are not only there to just be your cheerleader, but also to challenge you at times so that you can get more and more comfortable with your decision, your boundaries, and just bat imposter syndrome.
Yeah, because we have to look at that as energy too. Who we have
Mhm.
around us, we consume their energy, whether it's good, it's bad, it's motivating, it's encouraging. And you need to have different people for different things. That's kind of like, a tree analogy, that there's different people that come into your life and they go away, or there's the people that are the trunks, the ones that are supporting you and they're there, and others are
Mhm.
the branches that they're just there for the season. And to really be mindful of that and say, can I categorize this person into this aspect? Can I show up for this person how they're showing up for me? Because I know
Mhm.
I'm very much a person who's empathetic, but I also have to remember that I can't just save the world. Just because somebody says,
Yeah.
help me with this,
Yes.
I can't do it. That's a
Mhm.
boundary everybody needs to have, because if you can't tell yourself, I love me, I'm putting me first, everybody's going to walk all over you. That's the
Mhm.
motivation aspect, because somebody is evil enough to say, oh, you're not motivated, how are you even going to have this build business, right? some
Mhm.
some clients I have, this thing, it frustrates me that somebody can say, I don't show up enough, so then I don't want my audience to think, oh, she's inconsistent. But how are they going to look at you as inconsistent when you're setting boundaries to yourself on saying, this is how I show up, this is what I do, and then saying, I'm allowing you into certain aspects of my life? All
Mhm.
of that ties together, and it starts with you. If you don't respect
Yeah.
yourself, I think somebody else is. If you
All
don't put
right.
up a boundary, and we need it.
Girl,
We're
you're
all
telling them.
motivated. We're all motivated to do something. We just have to want it bad enough. And we have to say, my future self does this, so I need to do it yesterday, because doing it today
Wow.
is not it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Yeah. I guess if
Mhm.
you do think about where you want to be, your vision, what's important for you, then that
Mhm.
is a motivator to continue to push forward
Yeah. And I
against
wanted
even
to read,
triggers.
yeah, this Instagram comment. She said, I'm a
Mhm.
stay-at-home mom and I can be solid, motivated, and driven, but then it hits me all so hard to get out of it because her mental health is like a rut and it feels like I'm drowning. And to me, it's just so important because we don't allow ourselves enough time to know that we're drowning. We have to immediately tell ourselves, if I feel overwhelmed, no, stop. I need to not be overwhelmed because I need to be on go, go, go. What entrepreneur is really telling you, think think and put yourself first? What does your mental health look like? How were you yesterday? How were you last week? Are you checking in on yourself as much as you're checking on your phones? We need to stop
Mhm.
looking at it as, I don't have this, I haven't done this. What have you given yourself, and what have you said, man, I did really good this week because I did this? I encourage every single person that is watching this live or watching the replay, every single day before you go to bed, say to yourself, I'm so proud of myself because I did this. Whatever that is, you woke up early, you ate breakfast because you never eat breakfast, you had a great lunch, you worked out, whatever that is, because you're going to start training your brain to see positive in every single situation. It's not even about a win. It's just, I did great at this, or I felt amazing doing this. Start learning yourself and watch what happens. It's going to be just a whole shift.
Like affirmations.
Kind of, but with a little more insight. I look at affirmations as I have to put a why. So if I say I'm a money magnet, I have to put because the money I have allows me to change the world with other people. Because if I just say, yeah, I used to say I didn't like affirmations, but it's because I have to add a little magic to it.
You're right.
Otherwise I can't believe it. Why am I a money magnet? What is the money going to do for me to do for other people? You have to.
And our fellow e-boss, Nicole, she just said that it's because we lack discipline. And I think that's powerful too. A lot of times we do lack discipline. And Kim said that learning to follow your gut is important. And that's so true, because I take like those gut feelings as like my messages from the Lord. So I believe in Christ. I'm a Christian. And I always take that as the Lord's trying to tell me something. If it's a gut feeling, this is his way to direct me against my mind. He's putting it in my body and in my spirit. And I will tell you that each time that big things have happened to me in my life that has been catastrophic, that forced me to listen to my gut, because I wasn't good at doing that. And so listening to your gut is just super duper duper important. And like Raven said, she just started doing everything that you were just saying, and it really works. And it does. It does. You got to appreciate the things that you're doing. And when you do this on a personal level, that's the big thing. When you do this on a personal level, it trickles into every other aspect of your life.
Yes.
People don't realize that. Like once you do it at home, I'm happy I took the trash out on time. I'm happy I made my bed this morning. When you do it every day at home, Mika, you do it so good, because look at you. You actually wash those dishes after you had dinner. Like when you do that to yourself, then it trickles into your workplace. It trickles into your family life. It trickles everywhere. And I don't think people realize that it's getting yourself in a positive way to be motivated and to remain motivated and to make a sustainable motivation plan, as well as trying to beat imposter syndrome down. Those things isn't something that I can talk to Bree on one session and then it's tomorrow. It's a process.
Yeah.
It takes a while. Bree's going to give you homework. Bree is going to give you a roadmap. Bree is going to make you think about things about yourself that you've never thought about, so that you can get there. So Bree gets you together on that life aspect, and then you come in that job. And when I beat you down in that interview, you got the job all the way because Bree already got you right? How did I get there? But it's so true. I just want people to know, like, it trickles. So you do that at home and you trickle that into every other aspect of your life. And it's so helpful. Eventually, like, I know for me, sometimes I look at myself, like with the situation with this job, back in the day, I would have stayed there for 2 weeks and felt miserable and then been drained to start my new position. Because now I'm mentally and emotionally exhausted. You know, my last day was supposed to be the 24th. Now that would have like kind of put a cripple on to the happiness I could have had during my holidays, because I'm trying to regain that energy that I've given up for the last 2 weeks. For what reason? I wasn't benefiting from that.
Yeah.
You know, it was just crazy. And I do it, but I think I can do it a little bit more intentionally, of recognizing good things that I've done. So, I mean, I feel like the latest thing I've been doing is recognizing when I truly ignore my phone so that I can do something I enjoy or to truly relax. Or when I truly put the energy into going to bed early because I'm not good at that. And then that doesn't give me enough rest for the next day. And I just don't like it. So, those small things are things that you can do to, you know, boost your motivation, and definitely kill the growth that imposter syndrome can have when you don't acknowledge the good areas of your life.
Yeah. And once you acknowledge, like how it said, the way you do something is the way you do everything. And that has different aspects to it, because you might do something the same and realize and say, I don't want to do this anymore. I look at it as motivation also being the thing of the moment you're sick and tired is when you're like tired of being sick and tired is when stuff changes. And I just look at it as you can have different habits, different patterns, and say, okay, I'm not really motivated to do this. Well, why? Is that
Mm.
something that you have attached to imposter syndrome? Is that something that you just don't feel good enough to do? I can tell you, past clients are not motivated to go to the gym because they don't know what to do. When you eliminate
Wow.
that, it's not a motivation anymore. Now it's just the not knowing how to do something. So when I look at motivation, I'm a very get to the root type of person, and I want to know, where is this coming from? Why are you saying this? Why do you feel that way? And sometimes we need to take a moment and say, you know what, I'm a little unsettled about this, or this isn't sitting right with me, or man, I'm just so happy with what I've been doing throughout my whole life. And how many people can
Mhm.
say that? How many people are realistically saying they celebrate every win or celebrate just anything that they did in the day?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and I don't even need you to celebrate everyone. Just start celebrating some. You know,
Hmm.
when you start doing one or two daily, it'll quickly grow into three or five in an hour every day.
Hmm.
So we just have to do that. And nobody says that you have to write it down or put it on a sticky note on your wall, or,
Yes.
put it on a bulletin board. And social media damn sure don't need to know. It's just a mental thing. It's a
Hmm.
mental exercise to start getting your mind to move the way you want. Because somebody explain it to me this way one time. You tell me if I'm right. Um, Someone explained that the mind is like a muscle. And the same way, if I don't exercise that muscle, then it's not being used. It sits there and it becomes kind of like in the way. But if I exercise different things in my mind, then it will continue to grow and continue to help give back to me, just like your muscles. Now you can be more flexible. Now you can be, you got more fluids and blood flowing through that muscle because you're exercising that muscle and things like that. You got more power, more strength. Somebody explained to me that the mind is like a muscle that needs to be exercised as well.
Yeah. And then I even want to just piggyback off of that by saying, look at what happens when you're grateful for something. How much more things come into your life that you're grateful for after it? So, for example, if I say, man, I'm so grateful of the community that I've been able to build on Instagram, or the people that I've been able to connect with. As soon as I say that, more people come into my life that I'm able to connect with. And
Hmm.
that's why they say the attitude of gratitude, because when you're grateful for any little thing, God, the universe gives you more of that, because they say, oh, she happy about this? Let me give her this. That's,
So
yes,
true.
that's what it
So
comes down
true.
to. You have to be
Hmm.
grateful for everything. Like, oh my God, I love my sheets. And let's say you get in a giveaway and the sheets are like $1,000. Like, it's just, oh, she was worried about
Yeah,
these.
yeah, yeah. I was so
Mhm.
grateful for 200 subscribers, and then the Lord gave me 1,200. I'm like, you know what? You showing out.
There you go.
I
There
was
you
like, Lord,
go.
I'm not gonna get past this 200. But you're so
Mhm.
right. When you're happy or you're grateful for the small things, then
Mhm.
other things do happen. There's so many things that have happened um in my life and in my career that I'm like, wow, I never even dreamed this, never even thought about this. So just imagine what can happen for anybody in any level when you put that in every day. You're like,
Mhm.
wow, there's more. And I ain't even hit half a decade yet. Like we got all this time left. So
Yeah.
um it's so crazy. So what are some of your when a lot of people, like, they'll hear about imposter syndrome, they can
Mhm.
identify it. And
Mhm.
even if they can't, we just talk about how you can identify it, right? So it's those times when you do self-doubt. It's those times when you think to yourself that you're not capable, you can't do something, or whatever. But what about some tips to help us battle that? Like, what are some of the suggestions you would give somebody to say on a regular? So I get the mental positive thoughts. That's definitely one of them. Kind of give us some more tips that are easy go-to tips to kill imposter syndrome.
Yeah, so I go deeper than having a positive thought and having a break. I look at, what's the thing that you're doubting yourself with. So let's now use an entrepreneur as an example, and let's say they want to start a business. Your imposter syndrome is going to say, oh, I can't do this. Nobody's going to buy it. Like, I just need to stay working a regular job. Any other person that speaks about imposter syndrome is probably going to tell you, no, start saying affirmations, start journaling, all the other things that might go away temporarily. Now,
Mhm.
something I we hold on, listen.
Okay.
Something I specialize in is for you to understand you and find out where it's coming from. I want you to ask yourself, why do I feel like I can't start this business? The moment you ask that, your brain's going to say, oh, because we don't know what to do. And then now you ask yourself again, okay, we don't know what to do, but what do we mean? Like, do I not have enough resources? Do I not have the money to start the business? The point of asking the questions is for you to start digging deep enough to say, oh my God, all I have to do is get on a call with this person because they can help me start my business. Now tell me again why I can't start it. So if you look at it and say now, okay, let's say you've went through that. Well, nobody's going to buy from me. Well, have you put anything out? Have they even bought it? And if you put it out and they didn't, have you done enough research to know that they even need it? Everything that imposter syndrome is areas for you to dive deeper within yourself. You need to really look as a whole and say, why do I feel like this? Because everything we doubt ourselves on, the moment we push forward and do it is the thing that changes our life. If I would have listened to my imposter syndrome and said, why are you trying to be a coach? Everybody's doing this. Why don't you just, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. The biggest blessing I will say is because people have always asked me why I started, how I got into this from yay big. I mean, I'm only but yay big, but as a child, I've always wanted to either counsel or coach or just therapy work. And it was between that or be a veterinarian. Let me tell you, I became, it's giving me chills. I became the thing my younger self always wanted me to become. And it's such a just beautiful feeling, because if I would have just had my imposter syndrome stop me, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And let this be something that has you know everything you feel that is stopping you. Look at it as an experiment. What if I started this business? What if I sold this product? Imposter syndrome is nothing but the thing that we're supposed to be doing. Now I need a drink. Had me cry.
Oh, but you're so right. You're so right. Like, I will say when I was younger, I ended up in a completely different direction than I am now. But I think that my overall objective is still there. And I feel like where I can go and the direction I'm going is so much bigger than what my younger self even thought of. And I think that is kind of scary, because it's like, another thing about imposter syndrome is it will hit you in the places where you're most comfortable. Like, it'll come in there and kind of disrupt that area. So I'm very close with my sisters, and we've always had a really good able to converse really well with my mom. And at times you have those close people that don't see your vision. And so when you are so accustomed to them always being in your life in this drive, and then they're not able to be in this drive, imposter syndrome could tell you, well, I probably shouldn't be there because they're not coming with me. But if you know that, hey, I'm trying to get to that reason for why I'm trying to get there, and that kind of stuff won't bother you,
Yes. And we need to remember that not everybody is meant to stay with us in this journey. There's so many people that sometimes they can seem like they're supporting you, and other times they're not, because you're a lot farther than they are and you started at the same time. And I've seen it so much, and all I can do is just say thank you for being there when I needed you during that season of my life. When you can acknowledge that, you've already changed your life. When you know,
so true.
It goes to that analogy. I know, like, I've gotten better at seeing what season I have certain people in my life for. Others, it's a little bit harder to tell because they seem genuine, But the moment business starts getting good and you start doing this, this, and this, now they don't talk to you anymore. And you want to be the person, you know, oh, hey, how have you been? And oh, busy. Okay. We have to know that we got to not take that personal. They're just not meant for the rest of this journey.
Yes, yes. And you know that I've always told folks, and I know that I probably confuse folks with this, particularly at my workspace. I find myself confusing folks where they are just under the assumption that because we talk on a regular, because I'm always giving good energy when we're together, or I'm a good listener, that like they became like my best friend. And I'm like, oh no, that's not where we are. Like, you're an amazing person. I really like you, but there are levels to my friendship. So anybody can take it, and there are levels, honey, and you ain't get that high that quick. But you know, my best friend is very much an introvert. I'm very much an extrovert. We've learned to navigate our friendship in that type of way. And so sometimes I do catch myself saying, she's tired of me. I give her too much energy. And I have to remember that she needs that time, because I'm asking her for energy that's not really comfortable for her. And so it just, I know without a shadow of a doubt that being my best friend is exhausting for her. And I'm like, you guys just see me at work. Y'all think y'all can do it. You regular, like that girl will tell you, gonna get tired. But but people have to remember that when you get comfortable with yourself, you can acknowledge so much. And as a result, you can easily acknowledge who's here for a season, who's here for a reason, who's here for the long haul. It's just not hard to see. Like, yeah, you're right. It became clear for me over time. As I beat out self-doubt, as I beat out obviously imposter syndrome, as I, you know, find new ways to motivate myself. Because not every time, everything you do motivates you in the same way, right? As I find what I like to do, like just what do I enjoy? I cleaned nothing out my carpet yesterday. I vacuumed it.
I was like, go ahead.
How nasty my carpet was. My old little vacuum was it was struggling. So I said, you know what, let me go into the store and get the right stuff. Of course, YouTube guided me in that purchase. But when I went and got it, I was just so happy with what it was doing, because it was doing exactly what I wanted my old vacuum to do. And that for me was it helped me lose the negative energy to some degree, or at least diminish the negative energy that came from me doing something I never think is a good idea, which is saying, hey, this is my 2 weeks notice, and this is the day I'm leaving, to get into the day where I'm like, I'm cutting this short, honey, because this isn't for me. I'm going to get on out of here a little bit earlier to spare, you know, the emotions for both of us. And though I'm not in a place where I'm like, oh yeah, that's yesterday, I'm not even thinking about it. But cleaning for me really helped me kind of get more comfortable with the decision I had make, and, you know, the reason I did it, and not really letting someone kind of talk me into doing an action that I wouldn't normally do. And it's just, people have to realize that you're gonna find more comfort in yourself as you beat imposter syndrome, as you learn how to motivate yourself, as you become more positive about yourself. I had one topic I'd like us to address, and I'd like to know your idea on it, is I had a call literally right before we got on live. And my cousin was asking me what resources I would give someone who is struggling with leading a department, because they lack the motivation. And, you know, I immediately thought, I said, that's so odd you calling me about this. Like, get them on the live at 7. Like, we're so talking about this. But when you're the leader of a department and you're expected to guide the folks in your department, what are some of the things that you've told folks to help them in these different topics that we've discussed tonight?
Yeah, so for one, I look at it and I say, are you ready to lead? Because for one, not everybody is born a leader, built to be a leader, because some people get thrown into that position. And it's a lot to handle as a mental capacity. And something I don't talk about lightly is your mental state, and saying, how do I prepare? How do I do this? And it's not so much the how, but what do you feel is going to help you move you forward? For example, if I ask you and say, define what a leader means to you. Now you might list out a couple things, and I'll now say, out of those things, which do you identify yourself as? Because
Mhm.
if you don't identify as things you thought, you're already starting out not even holding yourself to that stature.
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
very, very different when it comes to how I see stuff, how I feel stuff, how I just internalize it. And because it starts with our projections, we see
Mhm.
something, so we have expectations. The only way to meet those expectations is if we identify as that. If you don't identify
Mhm.
as a leader, you're going to struggle all the time to do the things to become one. Start looking at what you wrote down and say, how can I do more of this? If you think a leader now is somebody that knows everything, okay, well, how do you get yourself to know everything, which is kind of impossible? But let's say they specialize in a skill, right? If a
Mhm.
leader is in a certain area, department, whatever, you want to say, okay, they're really knowledgeable in this aspect. Okay, how many things do you feel you need to know in order to show someone else? Now you're dissecting it, and it's moving you in a level of comfort to where you're going to be able to do the thing. So I'd
Mhm.
start by just saying, list out what it means and why do you not feel motivated to do it?
And what if my idea is that a leader knows everything? Don't you think that one of the ways I can go forward with that is identifying all the things that I do know that I think a leader should know, and then just working on the things that I don't know that a leader should know? Because like you said, it can't be like literally the world. Like nobody knows literally everything. But if I think that a leader knows, 15 different areas and
Mhm.
I only know 10, now all I have to do is challenge. How do I gain a knowledge of those five things that I'm missing?
Yeah. And then even diving deeper into that, there was something I either seen, heard, and they said what billionaires do. And instead of them focusing on the goal at hand, they look at what are the things that they can implement within a 10 to 15-minute time period to break that down. So essentially, you can look at this leader thing and say, what am I pouring into to learn more about this role, this title, this identity, you know? And if you look at that for 10 minutes every single day, look at how much farther you're going to be. That's like when people want to become 1% better every day. It's amazing if you're doing it, but how are you tracking it? How can you
Hmm.
really say you improved today based off of yesterday's actions? What about last week's actions? Did you drink more water today than you did yesterday? Great, then you've improved by 1%.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, I'm gonna break it down to like a really little practical joke. All right.
Go ahead.
When you said that, right,
Mhm.
it made me think about like tithing. So
Mm,
we in the AME church, sometimes our pastors will change and that'll cause like a whole lot of disruption.
mhm,
And so it was so funny because I've talked to a few people and it's kind of came down to like people talking about tithe and offering. And we know it's so sad, but the majority of the world does not get their 10%. If they do, they're giving the 10% of net, not 10% of growth.
mhm,
And it was so funny because I had a conversation with this guy who was saying, yeah, well, so and so really helps the church a lot because they give on a regular basis, da da da. And then I had a conversation with another lady who was talking about the same church, and she said, well, I don't know about them names. We assume that because these people make a comfortable income, they're giving a lot. And she gave me an example of one that my cousin and I talk about in our church often, which is, you know, every little bit amounts to a lot. So if I'm giving tithe of $200 every 2 weeks, right?
mhm,
But then sometimes I fall off. Maybe I might go 2 or 3 months and not give it, but then I start again, another two hundred
mhm,
dollars.
mhm,
That person who's been truckling at $10 every week could surpass my $200 because I've missed so much. And
mhm,
and people don't realize that that's the same way about learning more things, motivating yourself, killing negative thoughts. Is that
mhm,
you got to constantly add on little, little, little because you're not in it trying to keep up with anybody else or trying to figure out where they are. Your plan is to stay consistent. If you're
mhm.
consistent with what you're doing, you will see results. And I
Yes.
think that's what kind of made me laugh when you said it that way, because I was like, yeah, it's just like tithing. If I tithe, $10 every week, I probably done trump some folks who paid, $200 like every 3 months or so.
Mhm.
So it's a constant battle.
Mm-hmm.
Tara said leaders absolutely don't know everything, but they aren't afraid to say that or work to find an answer. And now that's true. That's true. I think, and that happens for me so often. Like, um, new laws will come up as it relates to employment laws, or
Mm-hmm.
now you have so many folks that are working across state lines, and I'm more comfortable with South Carolina laws. So some little areas might trip me up, particularly like with my clients, and I'll go, "What state is that?" And so even though I feel comfortable in my leadership abilities, I feel comfortable in what I can do. I
Mm-hmm.
know that I'm not comfortable in that area, but what I'm going to do is look for the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Hit your IG folks look like they're trying to tell us something, but I can't see it all the way you want to.
Yeah, it was metrics, keeping yourself accountable for how you're
Yes, Tika,
tracking.
you're right.
And then imposter syndrome despises facts and numbers because they burst the lies. And that's what
Oh,
people
that's a
don't
good,
double down
yeah.
on. Yeah. And that's with
Yes.
how you're showing up for yourself. Because if you're
Mm-hmm.
looking at the imposter syndrome, how come we're not doing it like little kids? Like, I told you, I knew I could do this. Like, sometimes we need to look at imposter syndrome a little bit differently and say, why can't I do this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Instead of I keep beating myself up about it. Like, we don't always have a choice that we're beating ourselves up about it. It just happens. We're humans. Everybody feels this way. And it's
Mm-hmm.
something that at what time are you going to say, let me see if I can do this? I don't care
Yeah.
what you say no more. I
Yeah.
want to know.
Oh, yeah. And it's crazy because I can deal with it for a period of time. Um, and I'm pretty good at helping folks kind of open their eyes, like in the workplace, open
Mm-hmm.
their eyes to change because nobody likes change, right? But if I can show you why this change is a good one, then or why it benefits you or it benefits the organization, usually people are a little open to like listen to it. And it really bugs me when people go, but we've always done it this way. I'm
Oh,
like, but what result are we trying to get to?
yeah.
So how
Okay,
can we
let
get
me.
to that new result? We're doing the same thing. You got to do something different, honey.
Okay, I'm gonna touch on this too. I've had certain clients that said, "Oh, but I've done it like this," and then I wait for them to say it maybe like two times, and then I say, "So why are we here?" Because for me, I'm a tough love person. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. I want to know. Then why are we talking? You've done this, and either it's worked or it hasn't. You want somebody to have outside eyes on your business, on your systems, on your whole roadmap of your work and just different systems. So to me, for somebody to say, this is how I've always done it. Well, if you want to continue it, you're now going to mess up my credibility because I'm trying to have you switch something to identify if that's the bottleneck. If you don't really
Mhm.
know, okay, you're doing the same things, then how can you identify what's not working? You wouldn't know because you
Mhm.
haven't changed anything. That's in life
Mhm.
too.
Yeah.
And just
Mm.
because that's the way it's always been done doesn't mean it's the most effective way. Exactly. And people
Mhm.
think it is. People are not chameleons, they're
Mhm.
lizards. And I say
Mhm.
this because there's not a lot of people that can adapt to change because they're afraid and they don't know how. Something that
Mhm.
my mom has always said to me is, you're not afraid of the unknown. And I pride myself
Wow.
in that because
Yes.
there's always something new I want to try, a person I want to meet. I am the person that can go somewhere by myself and feel completely fine. It's
Yeah.
been maybe a couple years, but I took myself to Disneyland by myself. It was on
Oh,
Halloween.
wow. You're on a whole nother level with this thing.
But let me tell you, it was the most freeing thing I've ever done because for one, I was like, oh my God, people are just gonna think like I'm lame because I'm by myself. You know how many people I talked to?
Oh, yeah.
and I was
No, I
and
know.
I wasn't held back. I went on single rider on all the things that single riders could go on. I pretty much didn't have to wait in any lines. And I'm like,
That's a
where
benefit.
has this where has this been all my life? And the thing that I tied to that was, why aren't we looking at life as doing the things that we're afraid of? why are we so stuck on the way things are, the way how they're supposed to be? Full transparency, I used to be like that. I was like that with my vintage style. I was like, people don't know this, people don't like it, whatever. I said, screw people, y'all aren't paying for my stuff.
Yes,
but it took a long time to come back. I did it for a couple years and then I stopped because it was just the looks and what people said, and we translate that to our everyday life. Now it's, how are you showing up as you? How are you being authentic? How are you doing all the things you wanted to do that you're too scared to do? The outfits I wear, I've had so many people, oh my God, I wish I could wear that. Why can't you? Same concept.
Raven had a really good a really good point where she said not adapting to change is the quickest route to failure.
Yes,
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's definitely, if it's not the quickest, it definitely give you a little speed. Especially in the time. And I just get sometimes I get too caught in the details because I'm such a forward thinker that I'm thinking about like so many other things that I have to like bring myself back. Because one of the things that gets me is not just that you're afraid, like we're in a time of a pandemic. So many things have happened. And yeah, some may say we're drifting out of it. Some may say we passed it, but we've been through it. And that is something that alarms me. Like you've lived in this thing for at least a solid year, and you had not seen how life has changed a lot, or how things had to adapt to a change that we've never seen before. People can say whatever they want, but that was in our face. Like people can say, oh, well, you're saying that, but we won't see that change until 5 years from now. Like I'll try to tell people what they can do with benefits. And I'm like, it's going to take a minimum, maybe a year or two before Blue Cross Blue Shield gives you the result that you want, but it's going to be worth it because you're going to save in the long run. Well, to me, that's like 2 years from now. Well, the pandemic was right then. March 24th, I was out to dinner. And I think by April 7th, everybody was on shutdown and no cars were passing through the neighborhood. Like, I didn't even hear trains because I live right by a train station, the train railroad tracks. I didn't even hear trains as often. I didn't see planes in the sky because I always see them. It was like the world was in silence, and it only took a week or two. And I'm like, if that's not enough to tell you how changes. And so now what did we start doing? Everybody started ordering online for everything. Everybody started having church online. Everybody started having meetings online. Everybody started having conferences online. Everybody, please tell me we couldn't even go to Walmart and see a normal thing. Like we were going to Walmart and seeing it like closed. Walmart it's been a long time since Walmart has closed. Now people are like, what time they open? And I'm like, yeah. These are the changes you see. If that wasn't enough for you to see that change is almost inevitable and definitely necessary in some situations, then we'll box you in. So now we're looking at it to better us, to make us more efficient, to make us save more resources, to make us more productive, to make us avoid human error more. And you can't see that change is probably going to be helpful. Anyhow, there you got me preaching.
It's one of those nights.
It is. Y'all, please do me a favor. Can y'all put into the chat on IG or YouTube to put a 1 if this was super helpful for you guys? Just throw a 1 in there if it was helpful.
We need to know.
Okay, so I'm not seeing 1s anywhere. If y'all not giving us 1s, then
it's a delay.
Give me a 2. We gotta wait. Oh, I forgot about the delay. Okay.
Yeah.
You'll remind me. Get me right. Because I'm like, dang, I thought we were gonna find it helpful. Okay, now they're coming.
Instagram, one's on YouTube. Yeah.
I'm like, well, damn, I thought it was helpful. Y'all still on here.
That's so funny. I actually wanted to open it up and know if anybody had any questions while we're on here.
I love that. So y'all can throw them 1s in there, but definitely give us your questions. I'm not good with that question box on IG, so I might need to check and see if I don't have one already that I missed, right?
Tara said, another free counseling session. I'm here for it. Yeah.
So true. I love it.
I'm about to invoice everybody at the end of this. No.
I know that's right. Get the coins, honey. Forget the coins. Some boys need to give you some bags because you done threw it on us today. Oh man, we're seeing some names come up that we didn't know were on here. Hey, Jenny Henry, awesome. I'm so happy you guys found it helpful. I'm so happy. Do you guys think that give me a 2 if y'all think that this topic was one that was resonating with you or resonates with your world or your everyday life or even people that you know around you. Give me a 2 if you think that it was relatable.
Yeah, I'm glad that we did this.
I didn't realize there's a delay on IG too. Okay.
Yeah.
But not as bad as YouTube. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna head out to Tara.
Yeah, because I don't see any questions on Instagram.
Yeah.
So that means that we covered a lot.
I know, we definitely, because there's no questions yet either. So I'm so happy to have y'all on. It's after 8. We're gonna get on 8 Eastern time because I'm in South Carolina.
It's early over here.
I know. Bree's like 5 o'clock, girl. And so, she said that she struggles, and then I'll start, but then I stop and question myself.
Okay, so then why do you stop? I'd be interested to know that.
I want to know more so than why they stop. Why do you struggle? Like, I think whatever is causing them to stop is the same thing that caused a struggle in the beginning. So on a battle when they started, you know.
Because that's one of the things that I will say is common to where we might be struggling with something and then push through it just a little bit for us to start, and then it'll come back. Because that's one of those things that we could sweep under the rug to be like, no, I'm fine, I could do this. But you really weren't fine. Yeah, you weren't fine when you started, to where the struggle comes back. And I can relate this now to a different client that I've had, that it was about posting, to where it's like, yeah, I was doing really good. I post 3 or 4 times a week, and then completely stopped for a month and was like, well, now what are people going to think? And I'm like, is it really about people, or is it how you feel you're presenting yourself?
I help them with that because I damn sure I suck at posting. I'll be in my stories all day long. But for that posting, I'd be like, damn, I still got this little frame look going on. You know, when you go back and look at your layout, you're like, damn, my layout didn't change. Well, you didn't post nothing, Mika. So, so I think I do it for everyone. And then I don't have time for myself. Oh, honey. You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, that's a people-pleasing moment. You have to really look at, why aren't I doing it for myself? What makes them more important than you? I can speak from somebody that has put everybody first, and just saying, you know what, I put more on myself to help everybody else than the little itty bitty thing I need to be doing for myself every day. Says I really don't have a lot of faith in myself.
Yeah,
I would start.
And I think.
You go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was like, huh? Yeah. So the not having faith comes from, you don't love yourself enough. And I would ask yourself, why? Why don't you feel that you're an incredible person to put yourself first? Why don't you feel that you're the person that deserves to treat herself like you treat others? Have you dated yourself? Have you really said, man, I love how I've showed up for myself today? Yeah, and self-care, dive into looking into shadow work with journaling prompts, because you're going to uncover a lot of stuff that's going to come kind of from past years and now, because there's some reason you want to please other people. There's a void that you're filling that you haven't filled for yourself, that you want to be the person that, I'm there for you, I'm there for you, I'm there for you. And who's there for you? I feel that you're empathetic in a way of, I care about people, I want to show up. But look into, why don't I trust myself? Why don't I love myself enough yet to get to this place where I'm putting a boundary? Even having a boundary that says, I don't talk to people past this time. We can't just always have everybody be the person we say yes to. Say yes to you first, and you're going to feel how good it is to say no.
And I'm guessing her name is Anjanae Essentials. I feel you with them tears. I feel you. I was there. I mean, I tell people all the time that this pandemic, I thought I had things under control, but being quarantined helped me. Because instead of binge watching movies or trying new recipes, I did try new recipes, but I did a lot of self work, and I learned to pay attention to what I liked. I was introduced to Catherine Manning. She's a YouTuber, and it was so crazy because I was introduced to her right as I was like on bed rest or whatever from my foot surgery, and she had really been transparent about her breakup with her husband. And she started focusing on things that she likes as a single person. And she was like, oh, now I do this. And my single life allowed me to do that. And it was things I didn't realize that I did. And I was like, oh, I do that. But I love those things. And it made me make time for those things. And those things gave me a time just to be with me. And I was a people pleaser. I mean, there's some aspects of my life I still try to cut off people pleasing. And I think that's what the biggest thing to get ready for is when you start making this change, be prepared, because the people who don't like your boundaries because it's not benefiting them are going to give you the hardest time.
And they're going to say you're acting funny. That's the first thing that they say, because you've now leveled up and gone into a state of putting you first.
Yeah. If y'all really want to continue this counseling session and you want it to be and you want it to be one-on-one for you, then on IG, y'all make sure you follow Bree and jump into her profile. She has her link to her website there so that you can schedule a call with her. And you guys can easily see if Bree's a match to help you get to the next level. Same thing for YouTube. I want y'all to know that if y'all want to get with Bree, y'all already know how to get with me on YouTube. Ain't no need to tell y'all know on IG too. But on YouTube, y'all can definitely hit that link that I've pinned in the comments, and that'll take you directly to her website. She's also on IG. Her IG information is on her website as well. And Tara, you are so right. I definitely am happy that you were able to jump on, because I figured this will resonate with you and be relatable in some direction. More so of her career. Like she said, I know her work story, and it is a challenge. It's one that really isn't common for a lot of us. But Bree, she said you sent her to bed because your voice was too relaxing. She told me the last time you went. She said that the last time. She was like, Bree about to send me to bed because I can just go to sleep for that. I told her, well, Bree has a podcast. Listen to her podcast so you can just,
no, not yet.
Go
it's
to
coming.
Sleep in peace. It's coming. Okay, my bad. Y'all get ready. That was just the prompts to tell y'all coming soon. But I'm so happy that we're able to get folks on here. I used to get nervous when the chat didn't go crazy. But then I realized with Bree that people spend more time listening to you than they want to spend putting into the chat. So for those of you who still pop in the chat, I appreciate it. Who knows? Me and Bree are looking at a long-term relationship here, so I wouldn't be surprised if she's back on. So definitely, definitely inbox me with or Bree with any topics that you like, because we're trying to hit topics that relate to you guys, but who know those topics better than you guys do. So we are going to take a break on Thursday coming up because it's Thanksgiving. Go enjoy your time with your family. The following week, we're going to have another person that's revisiting again, and that's going to be Stephen Cohn from Excel Realty. He's coming on again. And then the week after that, kind of some of the stuff that Bree hit on, we're going to have Mr. Stewart. I want to call him man, but Sean Stewart of Full Circle Fitness. He's going to tell us, of course, it's the holiday time. So he's going to tell us how to practice good nutrition so that we can avoid all of this extra holiday weight and to keep up routines going forward so that we can just stay healthy while we're working, from home or sitting behind a desk, or how can we put a healthy physical routine in our lives, even from home or going into the gym, so that we can stay physically fit. So I'm super duper excited about that. And then y'all know we're going to really take a break for the next 2 weeks. I apologize for last week. I put up a note and YouTube and told folks that we had emergencies, but guys, we're okay, because folks were like, are you guys okay? Oh, we're absolutely fine. We just had some personal emergencies, and from our conversation tonight, you can tell that there's some things that we know when our limit is reached, and so we take a break. So that's all it was for me. Bree had some things that came up as a quick emergency that she was taking care of. It just want to push her into time to jumping on. So I knew that emotionally, and now that I kind of told you guys what I went through last week, I had just turned in my resignation on Wednesday and had my first kind of day in the office, and it was super heavy for me. And I want to make sure that when I'm coming on to you guys, I'm giving you guys all of me. And I didn't feel like I would be able to give you all of me because so much of me was exhausted emotionally and mentally on that day. So I appreciate it. And I was getting ready for my trip out to Tennessee. I needed to pack. So I was like, okay, let me get my life together so I can hit the road in the morning. So we are definitely not doing that next week out. We're going to have Steven on one day, Sean Stewart on the next day, and we're going to take a full 2-week break. But I really enjoyed being on here with you guys. More so, Bree, I appreciate you finding the time for us today and being able to be flexible and push it to this week. Girl, you know I love you. I appreciate it.
I love you too, and I love all HR. So glad.
We love the roses and it's lovely Bree. I keep wanting to say Bree. It's lovely Bree. But you guys make sure y'all have a good night. If y'all have not finished y'all drinks, y'all know I'm down with the finish the drink game. You got a lot to go, Bree. It's so early for you. It's not like it's just turned 5 o'clock over there.
Yeah. You know, it would have typically been like 3 or 4, but we're on live. I was like, she can't look like an alcoholic.
Late for happy hour. Yo, we ran a late for happy hour. Did y'all know that?
Yeah, right.
Anyhow, you guys are so welcome for the transparency.
Yeah.
And Bree is gonna invoice you guys, so y'all might want to hide your emails because she's about to send y'all a bill.
No, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to DM me. I'm not one that's like, you have to work with me, I'm gonna charge you. I'm not that person. I literally want to know if I can help you. My DMs are open. I'm nosy.
She responds quickly.
Know what's going on. I
she's
do.
Like a crazy multitasker. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's like, as soon as I send a message, little bubbles are coming up. I'm like, this girl replied already. So she is very, very, very true in telling you guys, I don't feel like that's just for me. I feel like that is definitely genuinely her. So reach out to her if any concerns that you have. I do know that I found her freebie for her newsletter to be super duper helpful. And so if you guys want to get some tips throughout time via email that you can just kind of meditate on, then definitely go to her website and log into her newsletter because it's full of helpful information.
Yes. I'll see you guys in the Rose Tribe.
I know that's right. I would say you have a good night, but have a good day.
You're right. No, look, it's nighttime. You know I wake up at 4 a.m.
I forget about you with this 4 a.m. stuff. So she replies early too, guys. But y'all have a good night. I appreciate everybody. Y'all can't wait to see y'all next time on Heyyy HR.